it and hang it proudly. Yep.
Excuse me, where's it going to be hung?
It'll be hung with our society papers. So, you know what? The question was, where will this be hung? And we have yet to decide that because we don't have an office. So we'll figure that out. Our next speaker is one who is known, I think, to everybody here. Libby Davies is a member of Parliament for Vancouver East. And she's been an institution in this part of Vancouver and across the country. She helped found the Downtown Eastside Residents Association and was instrumental in saving Carnegie, which is very much linked with the Trek because the Trekkers occupied Carnegie on May 18th, 1935 while it was still Carnegie Library. So please welcome Libby Davies.
Well, thank you very much, Joey. And well, it's pretty special to be here today. And when I look around the crowd today and see the folks that I know, some real heroes in our community, just to see Frank Kennedy here, former president of the Vancouver District Labour Council, Dave Barrett. I mean, just the folks who are here today. This is history, and I feel very proud to be in this particular space. And I just want to say something about Crab Park before I talk about the Trek, because, you know, this neighborhood, the Downtown East Side, that used to be called Skid Road. So when in 1935, when the Trekkers got on those boxcars, it was still Skid Road then. But many decades later, it was residents in this neighborhood who determined to assert their rights and to stand up and to say we have a voice and we have power, and this is a community and this is a neighborhood, and we're going to make sure that it's not Skid Road, known as Skid Road, but it's known as the Downtown East Side. And in this very place here, Crab Park, even to claim this green space was a struggle that took many, many years. Don Larson and many others. I remember the campout that happened just in this space to convince the Port of Vancouver, the federal government and the park board to turn this into a park, because as you know, we have miles and miles of beautiful green space on the west side, and you come to the east side and yeah, you know, we have the working port, and that's very important to jobs and our economy, but we also need to have green space where people can live and breathe and feel grass and have trees. And so the struggle just to get Crab Park was a momentous issue in the Downtown East Side and took many, many years. And since that time, this small part of Vancouver, and a lot of people don't even know that this park is here, this part of Vancouver, Crab Park, has become now the site of many community activities and activism. I mean, there's a memorial to the missing women. There have been many processions through this park. And when I think about it, you know, I don't see today as a downer. I don't see today as something, you know, I mean, what happened on the Ottawa Trek and the brutality that was experienced was terrible, and we remember that, and we remember the people, the workers who were put in those relief camps and treated so badly. But what we're here to remember, what we're here to claim and to bring forward into our modern day age is the struggle that took place. The fact that thousands of people said we're not going to put up with this anymore. We're going to take on the government of the day, R.C. Bennett. We're going to say that we have rights. Now we call them human rights. We have labor rights. We have the right to live, to decent wages, to dignity, to respect. And so when you think about that struggle and what it meant and what the effort was, the collective effort, I think that is so much an important part of Canadian history. And unfortunately, we don't hear enough about it. And so the fact that we're here today, 75 years later, to claim that history and to bring it forward, particularly in this neighborhood, in this part of the city, with a plaque that will be unveiled shortly, to me is something that is affirming, it's inspiring, and it shows the solidarity of people, whether they're unemployed, they're working, they're allies, the labor movement, the community activists, and that's still going on today. You know, we see the red tents here, the red tent campaign that was so visible during the Olympics, and I think it is just absolutely awesome that today there'll be folks getting back on that train, going back to Ottawa, another trek, and saying that housing is a human right and that this country has to have a national housing program. Unfortunately, we have a bill in Ottawa that can bring that about. And so I think the legacy that's here today, the memory of those workers and what they did and what they took on in terms of the establishment, and they refused to be silent, is the fact that they did produce a legacy of social programs in this country. And so today we have a challenge to take up that legacy and to move it forward, and to say, still in this society, the gap between poverty and wealth is growing. And to think that in a city as wealthy as Vancouver, there are people who are destitute, there are people who can't even get access to employment insurance, there are people who are unemployed, there are people who are on the street, there are people who are homeless, there are people living in poverty. That is not tolerable. And so we take up this call for housing, we take up this call for decent wages, we take up this call to be together with one another in a sense of unity. So I feel very empowered to be here today, to feel the weight of that history behind us so many decades, and to know that it's real and that we bring it forward, and it inspires us now to take on these new challenges. So thank you so much, especially to those who are here today who did participate in 1935, and to the Labour leaders who over the years have kept this struggle going, and most of all to the Historical Society. You guys have done an unbelievable job in bringing this together so that we can all share collectively in the history that we have. So thank you very much for being here today.